Hello everybody and welcome to the fourth round of the UK and Ireland Radical Race Series here from Okayama. We've travelled over to Japan for this round after a European opening to this championship at the Hungaroring, Spa and Donington Park, where we've had 3 fantastic rounds already. But it's a slightly different occasion this time around at Okayama. A bit of a bullring circuit, only 3.5 kilometres in length, quite flat, very twisty though, but not without its overtaking opportunities all the same. So we're expecting an exciting race, and there always is in these radicals. Of course, we're going to see another one, I am sure. Now, we're moving into the fourth round. We're kind of getting into this season, really, now, as a whole. My name's Ewan O'Leary, and I'm alongside Steve Proudly for this particular race. It's good to have you all with us here this afternoon, or this evening, wherever you're watching, here to enjoy this race with us all. Let's have a look before we go any further, though, at what the championship standings are actually doing, so we know where we are as we head into this round. It's Simon Edwards, the reigning champion, who is currently leading this championship by 13 points ahead of Dan Webster, who won't be attending here this evening. Just said a few moments ago that he won't be able to make it here tonight. So lucky for him, there's 2 drop weeks, and this will be one of them. You can be sure. Graham Brown is in third at the moment, ahead of John McHutchinson, the champion of 3 seasons ago now. Paul Crabb, 2-time champion, is in 5th, ahead of Paul Clark, and then you've got a bit more of a gap to Martin Booker and Patrick Charlton, and then it gets a little bit more further away from the leaders at that point. But as I mentioned, 2 drop weeks for these guys, so these points don't mean too much at this stage. We're just going to be enjoying the racing for now before focusing on the championship a little bit later on in the season, really, at the fantastic Nordschleife, where we'll be ending off this championship. But welcome one and all to everybody who's watching here this evening. We're just about to jump into qualifying. As I mentioned, my name's Ewan O'Leary. I'm alongside Steve Proudly for this event here this evening. Steve, I'm very much delighted to be alongside you once again. It's going to be a good race here at Okayama, a circuit often used by those who are coming through the ranks in iRacing, but those with a little bit more experience are going to be tackling it tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think most people that race on iRace on the iRacing platform know Okayama. They know it very well. It's it's very quickly a favourite track at the start of your iRacing career. But these radicals, I mean, I was privileged to watch them around Spa a few weeks ago, and close racing. It is very, very close. Lots of slipstream battles. Some great racecraft from these drivers. 2 and 3 wide into some of the corners, and some good battling. And it's going to be a great watch again this evening, and we're going to try and capture as much of the action as we possibly can, and I'm sure you will narrate the action very, very well for the viewers.
Well, we're going to try, certainly. We've got nearly 30 cars on the grid at the moment, so we are going to be scrambling around, just trying to find all the action, because there's going to be a lot going on, to put it bluntly, but we like that, so we're looking forward to it, certainly. Qualifying just underway at the moment. The out laps are happening, and the kind of warm up laps are happening. The first few starting to come in, but not expecting these times to be the ones that will actually be the leading ones by the very end, although you never know. It's a private qualifying session, by the way. These guys have 10 minutes to themselves, a maximum of 3 laps that they have to do within those 10 minutes, and they're all on their own. They don't have to find track space, which is going to add a bit of an element for these guys. They can focus on their driving a little bit more. Just going fast is going to be occupying their brain, rather than trying to find track space, which can often be a difficulty, especially at a circuit like this, which is not that long. So the fact that they're going to be on their own is very, very helpful indeed, and so they're just going to be trying to get their heads down and just nailing a lap time on their own here.
Yeah, absolutely. Simon Edwards at the moment, who's on the screen, he's setting the pace as we speak at the moment. As you say, it's a private session for them all, so no other traffic to worry about. It's just about getting the car into the optimum window of performance, and getting that perfect lap. And it sounds easy when you say it, Ewan, but it's not always that easy, is it? There's quite a lot of pressure on these guys, because they've only got, like you say, a couple of laps to do it in, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul LeMay, you can see at the moment, is currently out. They'd run very well in practice, the session that we had just finished just before we came to air, and he was right up there inside the top 5, and expect him to go well today, but I wasn't quite expecting that at the very start of the day, because he's only 7th in the championship and only with 1 top 5. I say only, it's still good achievements, of course, but when you look at some of the others that are around him at the moment, you wouldn't normally expect it, but running well inside the top 5 at the moment. Martin Booker's just pushed him down to 4th with that 3rd place drive there in the number 72. We've got Simon Edwards, as we mentioned, still leading. Mike Busson is the one who's slotted himself into 2nd place. But as I say that, two-time champion Paul Crabb gets himself into second as well. So it's all happening at the moment, but 2 tenths. Simon Edwards throughout this session so far, we've only had half of it, but throughout he's just had that extra tenth or two over the rest of the field. He's been able to, everybody's progressing their lap times here, as you would expect with a developing circuit, but he's just a step ahead of the field at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Step ahead of the field and putting in the time that needs to be done. But these cars are so exciting to watch, and the rev of the engine, the power to weight ratio as well. It's they're quite exciting cars to drive. I've done a few laps in the Radicals, and it takes a heck of a lot of concentration. But Edwards is the man at the moment who's on top of the pile, closely followed by Crabb. Crabb's on a good lap at the minute, so he may be gaining some time, and he might be challenging for that provisional pole at the moment. But it's looking relatively close for the top 4 certainly. Top 5 now as Major slots into P5.
Crabb is improving, but P4, well, he's back to P5 again now. You can see what we mean, really. Booker goes straight up to third. Simon Edwards with his final lap of the session, a step ahead of the field once again, nearly half a second in front of Paul Crabb. Surely he can't pull this one out of the bag and find half a second in 1 lap time. It would be very impressive if he could, but I don't think, well, he nearly managed it. He's only a tenth behind Edwards there, but not quite close enough, I'm afraid. He might be able to, he looks like he's slowing down a little bit actually. He's not going to be going for another one. These guys only have 3 laps, let's not forget, and so around a circuit like this it doesn't take them that long to complete, so most of them at the front certainly already done. Dave Kirkman has got a big gap to find the front 5 at the moment, who are certainly the class of the field as things stand, but what can Kirkman do here over the next few moments? Well, not a lot, I'm afraid. He's going to stay in 6th position. A few improvements happening, but there's a certain golfing class in terms of this field. The top 5 do seem to be stronger than the rest as things stand.
Yeah, absolutely. We're possibly going to see that breakaway pack if they can get a clean start, if there's not too much tripping over each other at the beginning of this race. But let's see, because it's going to be tight and it's going to be close, and anything can happen in the opening few laps of Okayama. It is a very exciting circuit. It's pretty challenging as well, though. So I, for one, am not counting anybody out of this one, Ewan.
Oh, it's probably a good idea not to, really, as Richard Brown makes his way into the hairpin, which will probably be the best overtaking opportunity on the circuit. Very imaginatively named hairpin corner as well, by the way, but it's probably the best chance you're going to have. A little bit downhill, long time on the brakes down there, even in these cars, and you'll be able to have a go. Certainly late on if you're getting desperate, but yeah, we'll wait and see. Not a long race, as I mentioned, 19 laps around here, but as you can see, only 1 minute 20 or so lap time, so it's really not going to take these guys very long at all. There's not going to be a settling in phase at all. It's going to be an all-out brawl from start to finish by the looks of things, and you know, they're just not going to have time, really. They're going to have to get on with it straight away.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean, just talking about the track, you know, it's, for me, when I've raced on Okayama, it's always that last section, you know, you drop down the long straight into the left-hander, then the right-hander, and then it's the final 2 right-handers where the pit entry is, that you've really got to get them right, haven't you, so that you can get on the power and maximise that drive through the final corner onto the start-finish straight. And I always find that final sector the key to a good lap. The rest of it you can get away with a little bit offline and a little, maybe a mistake or two, but yeah, that last bit is very unforgiving, and you've got to be very, very precise.
Yeah, it's you do indeed. It's a little bit fiddly. The 2 hairpins as well, the left-hander and then the right, before leading into those final faster, or well, we'll just call them medium speed maybe, final couple of corners, but either way, yeah, they are challenging, and you do need a good run to that front straight. Although it's not the longest, you certainly want to be getting a good run to the back straight. That'll be more important, but there is a little bit more room for error there. A couple of different lines you can take through there, really, and that may come into play when we see cars battling for the first time through lap 1. What different lines are these guys going to take to try and get the run on their opponent down the back straight and into the hairpin? We'll have to wait and see on that front, but not too far away now from starting this race. As I mentioned, a complete sprint for all of these guys, as all of these races are going to be, and as we have had so far. But there's been only 3 people. I say only, that's still quite a lot. So it's only 3 people able to get top 5s in all 3 races so far. Simon Edwards, Dan Webster and Graham Brown all able to get top 5s, throughout the 3 races so far. Graham Brown, unfortunately for him, is down all the way 17th position, So we'll be looking down towards him in a couple of moments. But here's the grid. It's Edwards alongside Crabb on the front row, Martin Booker and Mike Busson just behind them. Paul LeMay and Dave Kirkman share row 3. Darrell Taylor and Sergio Cruz are on the next row ahead of Olivia Ettridge and James Child, who is on the 10th position there, rounding out the top 10. Richard Brown and Michael LeMay rounding out the top 12. Then we've got Rowe, Clark, Jocelyn, Brown and Brown. 2 Graham Browns lining up near each other, which is a nightmare for us. But 17th position, there you go, 13 car, not in a good place considering he's had 3 top 5s out of 3 so far. Then we have Phil Glover, Martina Ward and Thomas Burling running up top 20, Christopher Kane, Dave Dowson, Tim Adcock, Chris Morris on the 12th row of the grid, and it goes even further than this. David Rollison, Rob Noble, Guy Robertson, Chris Hall and Colin Wynn rounding out the 29 car grid for this one. Nearly 30 cars on the grid, which is absolutely fantastic to see, and the cream absolutely rising to the top here with Paul Crabb alongside Simon Edwards, championship leader, reigning champion. But Paul Crabb is the only guy who's managed to win 2 titles so far in the UK and Ireland Radical Race Series over the 5 seasons that we've had so far. He's got 2 of them, and he wants to make sure that he is the only person with that record, I would imagine. And making sure that he defeats Simon Edwards in this championship. Let's wait and see though. It's going to be a race down towards turn number 1 between those 2. Simon Edwards, can he convert that fantastic pole position? It's away they go, and it's not a great start from Paul Crabb. He's falling backwards very quickly. 4th position before he's even broken into turn number 1 there. Busson looking like he's trying to get around the outside, but can't quite do it for the moment. He's going to have to use turn 2. Inside line for him, and he gets through. Not a good start from the man who started in 2nd position there at all. Not a good reaction time, wheels spinning everywhere, and he's down to 4th already. He's been tapped around as well. One of the cars, May, going down his inside, not far enough alongside May B, just clipped Crabb, and it sent him spinning around already, and that's going to have dramatic consequences, maybe for May with a penalty, but certainly for Crabb, who's at the back of the field.
Yeah, absolutely very unfortunate, and that's one of those early incidents that I was talking about earlier. That, you just don't want to discount anything, and certainly don't count the chickens before they've hatched. But unfortunately for Crabb, I'm sure he'll be on a bit of a recovery drive. We'll have a look at that replay very shortly. We're just keeping an eye on the rest of the field at the moment, seeing what's going on throughout the field as they all sort of try and sort themselves out now as they're going around on this first lap. There's a few people changing positions a bit further back, as we've just seen Adcock there, and he just got it all a little bit wrong into that corner and just had to check up on the brakes and lost a position. So it's all going on, Ewan, and it's all looking very, very tight and very, very close at the moment, but they're all not too many incidents on the opening lap.
It doesn't seem to be that way, fortunately. Paul Crabb, unfortunately, though, was one of those involved in them, down to 23rd already in this one, all over the back of Robertson at the moment, trying to get down the inside into turn number 1, and then he's got Rollison just after that, so let's wait and see. Round through turn number 1, he's down the inside. Just want to repeat the mistakes of May that maybe he made into the hairpin last time around. Shut out for the moment through turn 2 as they go through the S's now and down towards the hairpin, leading on to the back straight. Is it going to be Crabb down the inside? No, he's not going to go for it on this occasion. There are a couple of moves and darts and dives up in front. This is him recovering, and he was able to get back onto the circuit without impeding anybody, thankfully. But yeah, was May far enough alongside to really be making this move? Paul LeMay, was he far enough alongside in this one? It's a late dive on the brakes. It doesn't seem to be much contact at all, but it's enough to send Paul Crabb around.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't take much, does it? There's not a lot of room on the track when these guys are making the cars as wide as they can, and somebody's trying to go for that gap, and ever decreasing gap quite often, and just that little bit of contact sends them wide. But at the moment, they're all starting to find the feet and just spread out a little bit. Simon Edwards up at the front has he's found some space, and he's got a little bit of breathing room now, and he's settling into a rhythm, and he's looking pretty comfortable, it has to be said. Although further back down, we've got some battling now, as we've got Child and and Brown going almost side by side into turn 1, looking for that, battling for that P9.
Yes, side by side battling into turn 1. Actually, a little bit more than I thought. I thought it was going to be a pretty single file into turn 1, but there's been a few openings there. Not least for James Child, who we saw a few moments ago, couldn't quite make this one work. Graham Brown, this is the man who is in third place in the championship, trying to dive down the inside, but also trying to avoid contact, and just about managed to do both of those things. Trying to overtake Phil Jocelyn at the moment, but maybe into the hairpin at the end of the back straight. This time it's going to be the opening. Later on the brakes, much later, he's going to have a swinging run around the outside, which would give him the inside for the next, but he's not been able to do it. It's Tim Hancock also down the inside. The midfield battle's starting to heat up. Paul Crabb has got to fight his way through all of this mess. Not where he wanted to be for this exact reason, but he is negotiating it well, up to the 18th position now.
Yeah, almost making it look quite easy there, Ewan, dare I say it. It was a pretty confident drive from him. Everyone else looked to be trying to force the door open, and Paul Crabb seems to just follow through and get the positions he needs, and he's making short work of what is a big job ahead of him to recover back up to the front from where he is currently.
Yeah, he's going to be obviously losing out on a lot of points at the moment, down near the 20 marks. He's gaining 1 point of position at the moment in the positions that he is in, as Graham Brown just finally make the move on Phil Jocelyn into turn number 1, and keeps a tight line on the exit of the first turn as well to make sure that the cutback was not an option for the 04, which is smart defensive driving in the face of an attack that he just launched, and it's paid off for him. So 14th position there, and Paul Crabb looking to make more positions for himself as well. Down the inside into 17th, and made that move very successfully indeed. So up another position, 1 more point gained, but he's got a bit of a problem now with that 4.5 second gap up to the next car in 16th position.
Yeah, absolutely. He's driving like a man he's full of confidence. He's certainly on a mission, isn't he? Because he seems to be catching the cars fairly quickly, and when he gets to them, he's making very, very short work of them. And indeed, that's what he needs to do, isn't it? I mean, he's well out of position, it has to be said, from his qualifying pace, obviously. But it's very easy to get tangled up, and it's very easy to get thrown off your natural rhythm and make more mistakes and end up compounding what was already a bad start to the race.
That is very true. It can snowball very quickly, but Crabb has not allowed that to happen so far. But once he gets up to these guys, he's going to be absolutely loving this, because the train goes all the way up to P5 at the moment. Not saying that Dave Kirkman is backing everybody up here right now, but he certainly is at the front of a train of cars that are nose to tail pretty much in its entirety. These two just falling away a little bit at the moment. Phil Jocelyn dropping backwards ever so slightly, with Phil Glover now applying the pressure, but this is Kirkman. You can see the gap opening up to Paul LeMay up in front, but the gap is not opening behind to the likes of Darrow Taylor. Got Sergio Martinez de la Cruz as well, just behind him, as well as we got moves further down with Paul Clark trying to get down the inside, but not able to. He's coming under pressure from Brown himself, actually. That's Graham Brown, by the way, not Richard Brown. And the Graham Brown who's up there in the championship. Bit confusing, but you get what I mean. As being pushed a bit wide at the moment. Tim Hancock trying to make moves at the moment, and Runnison and Ward have been forced to fight between themselves as well, side by side through this tricky little complex. And it looks like they've managed it. More good racing further down towards the back as we go and have a look at replay. Mike Booson, because he was up in third, but he's clearly not anymore. Too late on the brakes. Too rearward on the brakes, I guess you might say as well. And he's, goodness me, where is he? He's all the way down. He's in the pit lane at the moment, and that is not what we want to see. It seems bizarre to me though that he would pit after such a small spin like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes, it's maybe he's picked up some damage that we haven't seen. Maybe has been an incident earlier on in the very first few laps, and he's maybe got some damage, and that's what's caused that bit of a spin. But it definitely looked like a late break there. But we're looking now at Clark, and he's definitely looking to defend hard against Brown at the moment, who's looking to get past him here, but was forcing him to go around the outside. I'm not sure, he definitely later on the brakes is Brown, and he's almost, but just around the outside was just too far, and not able to do it this time, but he's tucked in nice and close again, and ready for round 2 and another attack. This battle's going to go on, it's far from over, I think.
Surprised that people aren't trying to hang it around the outside a little bit more at that hairpin to dive it down the inside of the next couple of next 3 left-handers, I suppose, I guess you might say. But no, I guess that brow of the hill there, just at the exit of the hairpin, does make it tricky. You don't want to be smashing the power down there.
There's some colours to test. There's colours to test the contrast on your monitor. Definitely. Yeah, he's definitely in the slipstream, and he's charging hard, and he's not going to be close enough for an attack into turn 1, but he's certainly not giving up on this fight, and he's looking to take it to Clark ahead, and this is one of the closest battles. Indeed, pushing that little bit too hard there.
He just got that wheel on the grass on the right hand side, and he's gone for a spin there. Crabber's moved up another position, following on from Phil Jocelyn and Glover as well. Phil Glover as well, who's just been able to get himself through because of that spin. But Graham Brown not having a good day. To say he's managed to finish in the top 5 on every occasion so far this season, he's going to struggle to finish inside the top 10 here today. Christopher Rowe defending from Clark here once again, but let's see what happened. Brown
wheel on the grass.
Wheel on the grass.
Yep, wheel on the grass.
Not a good recipe for cornering, I'm afraid, into the gravel, that one. And meanwhile, Paul Crabb trying to make up some more positions here at the moment. He's making light work of these guys. Well, he's caught up to them very quickly. We'll see how quickly he can actually pass them, though. Oh, James Child in the middle of the road. For whatever reason, he's managed to send himself around, or whether he was sent around, we'll have to wait and see. But that was a scary moment as they come through that blind hairpin. They all had to dive out of the way all of a sudden. On his own, really. Well, it looked like it was on his own. Maybe he got a bit of assistance, but either way, it's positioned for both of these, and Paul Crabb wants some more, so he's going to go down the inside into turn number 1 and hopefully protect it into 2. Oh, a cut off of the nose. Glover was brave there to hang it round the outside. Tight margins, but it did pay off for him in the end. Could have easily been sent into the gravel there, but Crabb not giving this one up easily. He's going to send it once again for the second time, and they're going to remain level out of the hairpin and level down the back straight as well by the looks of things. A great battle between Crabb and Glover right now. It's going to be Crabb on the inside line, though. We've seen it prevail most of all into the hairpin, and I think Glover just backed that one off ever so slightly. It was getting a little bit exciting for us, but maybe a little bit dangerous for him, backing off into the hairpin, making sure that nothing went wrong there. Have a look at Christopher Kane here. He's gone for a quick spin and a bit of a touch as well, whichever car was following on there. A bit of bodywork out of shape now. I imagine that's the same story up and down the field at this point. Christopher Rowe, what's happened to him through the hairpin? This left-hander becoming very difficult. It's another one. Too late on the brakes and too rearward on the brakes as well. Proving to be very, very difficult indeed. It's seemingly a mundane corner when you look at it in isolation, but it's catching a few out at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems to go that way, doesn't it? And these cars, like I said earlier, the power to weight ratio is massive. They are very light, these cars, and when the brake bias is very, very sensitive, and just braking that bit late, and the weight transfer, it can soon unsettle the car. And you've got to be very, very sort of delicate with the cars. I don't think it's so much throw them around. You've got to really, drive them properly, as it were, and put them where you want them to be, and just be delicate with the inputs and be precise. And we've seen a few people just coming unstuck at the same sort of places, just through a few incidents at the moment.
For whatever reason, it's catching a few out. As looking, Graham Brown is recovering actually. I thought he dropped down a little bit further than this, but he's back into the top 13. He's into 13th position. As Simon Edwards, we haven't seen very much of him so far, but he's approaching half distance in this race. 9 laps complete as things stand. 10 to go as we speak, and you've got a 2-second lead ahead of Martin Booker. Then it's Paul LeMay in third, ahead of Dave Kirkman and Darrow Taylor rounding out your top 5. But Edwards has looked in complete control of this one. The championship leader, reigning champion, extending his lead at the moment comfortably as well.
Very much so, and it's looking like Paul Crabb's he's going to enjoy this one. He's on the back of 2 cars now. First one in front of him is Brown, and he's looking to hassle and hurry Brown along, and he's looking for an opportunity, and he's going to take his opportunity and try and send it up the inside here. Just about enough room left for him. He's going to get a good exit there, and he's got the job done before they get out of the corner. Which he didn't do on the previous pass with the previous cab. He's managed to do it this time. He's got clear. He's just going to have to possibly defend into the next turn, I think. But no, he's all clear, and he's now going to be homing in on P10. So great drive from Crabb. He's really got a bit between his teeth. He's charging hard.
Recovering towards the top 10 here once again. It's not had the best season so far. To say that he's a 2-time champion in the first 2 occasions that this championship actually run, he managed to take home both of the titles, and not giving up on this one just yet either. Down the inside of Phil Jocelyn, but not quite enough for him on this occasion. It's a difficult place to make a move, really. You don't really want to be diving into such a small braking zone, and Crabb did realise that, didn't want to tip his rival around, so he's going to wait for a better opportunity, and there's going to be one right now by the looks of things into turn number 1. Pulls to the inside. Shutting the door slightly there, Jocelyn. Little bit of a close moment there. I don't think there was any contact in the end, but it could well have been. So they go through turn 2, and now towards the hairpin leading onto the back straight here once again. Crabb is so close, running down through the S's. He wants to head down the inside, but Jocelyn parks his car in the middle of the road, making things very difficult for Crabb. And so it even allows Richard Brown into this one. Actually, maybe into the hairpin. There's going to be a bit of all 3 of these cars piling into one. Let's wait and see. Jocelyn inside line. Crabb a little bit later on the brakes, but still unable to find a way through for the moment. He is finding this difficult, but maybe now a dive down the inside. Still not able to do it. Not quite far enough there.
Yeah, Jocelyn really making Crabb work for this one, and defending very hard, and almost, I won't say aggressively, just very, very hard. I think it's bordering on aggressive defending, but he's really snapping the line, and that's contact there for the guys, and that's not what you want to see. But it was almost inevitable. To be fair, was that just the way that they were going at it. But yeah, unfortunate that Crabb's now lost a few of those positions, and he's got some more hard work to do, and he's not got that long left to do it.
No, he really hasn't at this stage, but fair play to him for waiting. I suppose he's avoided a post-race, possibly avoided a post-race penalty because he waited on that particular occasion. But yeah, just getting a little bit, I'm not saying impatient, but he'll certainly want to get a move on. And I said it last lap, you don't want to be making dives through a corner that is so small in terms of braking zone, and there wasn't space for him to go there really either. And so the contact was in the end inevitable. It's Darrow Taylor trying to turn this 5th place into a 4th at the moment, but Kirkman, as he has been all race, defending for his life for this 4th position. He's been running in this position the entire time. He's not let anyone through. They barely got to this position really, only now as he had to make the dramatic defensive manoeuvres, and now it's kicking off this group entirely because De La Cruz is now around his outside here at the moment, or Taylor's outside should I say, a bit close, and Etheridge is going to try and fancy his chances up the inside of De La Cruz. They all get away with it, but it was a very close moment through the final sector there.
Yeah, it almost looked like he checked up and he was having to really get out of it, and it was very, very close, but credit to the guys, all good, no contact made, and the battle goes on, although they've spaced out a little bit now, and Kirkman has got about half a second breathing space at the moment, and Cruz half a second again back to Etheridge, but it could all still kick off. There's a few more laps to go, and still plenty of time for him to swap positions.
Yeah, there are indeed a few more laps to go at the line. There's going to be 6 more, I believe, if my maths are correct. Then 6 more at the line, which really isn't very long at all. Less than 10 minutes certainly, so do need to be getting a move on if they want to be making any sort of moves. And speaking of them, Paul Crabb is still making them because he's had a bit of bad luck in this race, but also bad luck of his own doing as well, I guess you might say, especially that incident in the last couple of laps. But he waited and he lost a few positions because of it, but now has to recover them. Once again, he's gaining 1 point per position at the moment. Well, Edwards is going to be scoring 40 at the moment. Crabber only 18, so he's going to be losing out quite a lot here. But the pace that he has shown here and the racecraft that he has shown is very, very encouraging for him in terms of this season. There's still 8 rounds to go, 2 drop rounds as well. No need to panic for anybody in this field, and no need. These guys certainly won't be looking at the championship points at all. Really, I wouldn't imagine going into these races at this end of the season. But there are encouraging signs there, even if the result maybe won't show that for Crab.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 2 dropped rounds. You can afford to have a couple of not so good finishes, as it were, if you're going to attend all the races, and you've got plenty of time to recover. Like you say, we're still early days in the season. As that looked very close from Cruz there, it almost into the back of the car in front there, but just managed to keep it under control and keep out of trouble. But that was very, very close again. Similar incident to what Crab had earlier on.
A little bit of earlier braking from Edwards than maybe Clark was expecting. A little bit of a dart down the outside there, but not able to make anything really work. This is a battle for 6th place now, because Kirkman and Taylor have just clipped off for the last couple of moments, battling over 4th position. Cruz made an attempt at that 5th, but wasn't able to, and it stacked everybody up. And here we are again with 3 cars battling over this position here once more. These are the battles for the highest positions in the field, because those in the top 3 are absolutely in their own world at this stage. Those positions looking very settled, but these ones decidedly not settled at this stage. Probably 5 laps to go as we complete this one. Not long at all, but these guys have just been like this all race long. It's been lots of attempts, particularly to get past Kirkman, who's been proving particularly difficult. But these 3 certainly look like they're most likely to change position in the next few moments as well.
Absolutely, yeah, just got a couple of replays. Look, this is Tim Hancock, not quite sure what's happened to him, but it says on the screen he has crashed. So let's have a quick look, see if we can see what's going on.
The spin, well, he was already going for his own spin, getting down on the power a little bit too early, and then the car behind didn't really have anywhere to go. Accelerating out of the corner there, and so helped him around the full 360 degrees, I'm afraid. As Oliver Ettridge gets down the inside, trying to repass Clark here for what he will believe is rightly his 7th position, but Clark is, and he is going to claim it there indeed. So he holds on. Clark was able to make a bit of a move, but not able to go through. De La Cruz a bit of breathing space now over the last couple of moments, but it really has been the story of that hairpin. It's not been as much side-by-side racing from through there and then into the next left-hander as I thought there was going to be. And people really settling it through that hairpin and deciding to keep it single file through the next couple of corners.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're all realising now that they're running out of laps to get the job done and get past the car in front. So we might see a few more, shall we say, assertive moves into some of the braking zones. But the guys now, they're sort of spread out. But one man that's not really been trouble for the whole race, and we've only put the cameras on him, I think, twice this race, and that is Edwards, who's really he's coming through the back markers now as well. But he's still got that good, almost 5-second advantage over Booker in 2nd place. And yeah, he's just not putting a foot wrong at the moment, and he's going to score maximum points. We just saw somebody else off in the barriers there.
Absolutely, it's to say that a lot of these guys who you'd expect to be running well are decidedly not at this stage. Yeah, he's going to be absolutely loving this one. Only won 1 race so far this season. John Hutchinson has taken the other 2, and it's going to be another one for Edwards by the looks of things. Richard Brown trying to avoid somebody with a very wonky rear wing there, rejoining back to the circuit. Not sure how he's got so bent up at this stage, but there's been a lot of that kind of thing going on. The bodywork does seem to bend very easily at the back of these radicals. We've seen a lot of wonky rear bumpers and rear wings. And we might be able to see the cause of another one here. Chris Hall just recovering from maybe getting on the power too early out of the hairpin. The brow of that hill there does make it very tricky, and trying to get back to the pit lane safely is a difficult task as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes luck just doesn't go your way, and when you pick up damage like that, it can become very, very difficult to even get back to the pits, because you're so conscious of all the cars around you as well, trying to stay out of the way of those, as well as make it safely back to the pits. So good luck to him on that one. Yeah, some of the battles now, they've all started to spread out a little bit. All the cars have got some breathing room and they're settling into those positions, and they've all got it to do now as Clark is trying to close back up on Ettridge in P7 and trying to look to move up the order one more place. And he's certainly in the slipstream and he's closing, but the slipstream's not having such a massive effect on these cars, not as big a effect as you might think.
Well, not at times, certainly. These guys have been glued together the entire time, but not much positional change has happened in this region, including the Kirkman and Taylor battle we're seeing just up the road from these guys. But further back, you can see it's not an issue. Joshlin and Glover have not been able to leave each other alone either. That was a big dive from Glover, getting desperate at this stage in the race with only a couple of laps to go, and it wasn't able to pull it off. Very tight line on the entry to the hairpin there, but it doesn't matter how late you brake for the hairpin. Even if you make it round the corner, cutback is always going to be there, and that's what Glover's feeling the effects of at the moment. As down the inside goes Clark, another move side by side between the two of them. Ettridge has to give the space, but once again he's able to hold off. Dela Cruz is starting to race away with 6th position at the moment, because these two are battling very hard now.
Yeah, absolutely, starting to slow each other up a little bit, dare I say it, with the battling, and it's giving Cruz the chance to pull away ahead now. But looking really tight, and Cruz is looking good for that 6th place. I'm not sure he can do anything about Taylor in 5th place unless there's any incidents. Taylor equally in 5th place, he's half a second off Kirkman, but he's going to have to go some to close that gap down, or hope that Kirkman makes a mistake also.
Let's wait and see. It doesn't look likely, because Kirkman has been driving very solidly so far in this race. Haven't seen him make a mistake at all, even running wide somewhere, to be honest. It's been very clean from him. Indeed, as the white flag is already waving, because Simon Edwards is already at the start finish line for the penultimate time. He's got more than 7 seconds of a lead. He's barely been challenged here tonight, not in qualifying. Nobody could get near him. Martin Booker couldn't get near him in the race either. And it's a runaway victory for him by the looks of things. Just going to keep it on the road for one more lap, and he's going to take a very good victory, a big step forward in this season as well. It's running down towards the hairpin at the moment, lapping a few more cars here as well. I don't think there are too many on lap down. 22 cars still on the lead lap, with a number of those who have had a few problems, let's say, further down the order, though we still do have 25 cars running. Simon Edwards has easily been the best of them in this run, even pushing it out to 8 seconds towards the end of this race. Just 4 more corners for him to negotiate here in the final sector. A couple of slow hairpins to the left and then to the right, and a couple of medium speed right-handers to end this one off, and it is cruise mode for Simon Edwards, who has led this race from start to finish. He led the qualifying session start to finish, and he's replicated it in the race. Simon Edwards comes across the line to win at Okayama, the UK&I Radical Race Series 4th round of this season. Goes to Simon Edwards. Nobody could touch him today, not even Martin Booker, who comfortable 2nd place for him today. Paul LeMay is going to be in 3rd, but there's going to be question marks hanging over his head with what happened down at turn down on the 1st lap there, down at about the 5th turn. Further back, Kirkman was challenged late on by Taylor for that 4th position, but he was able to hold on in the end. Dela Cruz and Ettridge and Clark all stayed in the same position. Michael LeMay is in 9th, and James Child looks like he's held off Paul Crabb just about to round out the top 20 there. So a decent race here at Okayama, but an absolute runaway winner in the form of Simon Edwards.
Yeah, absolutely great drive from Edwards as ever, and just never looked challenged for the whole race. Wasn't under any sort of pressure, or it didn't appear to be, and just never put a foot wrong. Consistent as ever, and put the full package together to take the checkered flag first and bag those championship points and put himself in a stronger position.
Mark Wilson was looking, of course, for a podium earlier on in this race, but he had a spin earlier on at stopping and a trip down pit lane, so he finishes all the way down in 17th position. I'm afraid we're waiting for the last of the cars to actually come across the line here. But yeah, not a good day for Booson, I'm afraid. Drop down the order, not a good day for a lot of those you'd expect to see up towards the front. Dan Webster obviously not here, which obviously is not not going to give you a good result. Graham Brown was a long way down, never really got into this race really. 16th position, only gained a position from his start, which was not particularly useful for him. John McCutcheon, I can't even find him on the order at the moment. I'm not even sure even if he has attended this one either. So yeah, Simon Edwards, certainly the runaway winner in this one. And yeah, very deserving as well to take his second race win of the season, drawing level now with John McCutcheon, who's also got two, but he's only got 2 races next to his name as well. So you decide which one is more impressive. These are the final standings, though, just over 8 seconds of a margin to Martin Booker. Paul LeMay rounding out the podium. Dave Kirkman 4th ahead of Darrow Taylor. Sergio Cruz was 6th ahead of Oliver Ettridge. Paul Clark hounding him all the way. Michael LeMay and James Child running out your top 10. Then it was Crab, Jocelyn, Glover, Rollerson and Rob Noble, your top 15. Graham Brown, as I mentioned, disappointed to be over a minute back and in 16th position. Mike Booson could have had more today as well with 17th. And Tim Hancock, the top 18. Second half of the results will reveal those who had a few problems in this one. Christopher Rowe finishing back as well. The other Graham Brown rounding out your top 20. Richard Brown 21st ahead of Chris Morris and Martina Ward. Did get to a lap down despite being did get to the finish, excuse me, despite being a lap down. Guy Robertson 24th ahead of Chris Hall, and then David Dawson, Christopher Kane and Thomas Burling didn't make it to the end of that particular race, finishing multiple laps down in the end. So there are your race results after the Okayama race. We'll have a quick chat now to a couple of these drivers, preferably the podium ones, but we'll see who comes in, who's sociable, who wants to chat with us here on the broadcast. And you can be sure we're going to speak to Simon Edwards first after that runaway victory here at Okayama, his second race victory here of this season, to take a big step forward in this championship. Only 4 races in, 8 more to go after this one, starting with Interlagos, which is coming up in just 1 week's time here on Thursday night once more. Let's have a quick chat to Simon Edwards, though. We can get his car up on the screen and hopefully bring him into the booth. Simon Edwards now joins us, race winner from that one. And from our perspective, it did look very easy for you, but what was it like to drive it here at Okayama here this evening?
It might have looked easy, but I really don't get on with this circuit. So I just found a groove and I was just hot lapping every lap, even at the end there, just to keep my concentration up. But I was right on the edge all the way. I know I started pulling away and it probably looked easy, but if I'd slowed down at all, I knew I was going to make a mistake. So I don't like the track, but a win is a win, and I'm really surprised, and I'm really sad that Paul wasn't able to come with me.
Yeah, absolutely. It could have been a good fight between the two of you, to be fair. But you got a good launch. I guess the start really is what did it for him, putting himself into the danger zone, I guess, and was able to spin himself around, unfortunately. But you had a good start in the end, and it was just controlling the race from there. But what was the start like for you? Did you feel like you nailed it at the time, and then it was just a case of getting your head down and not looking in the mirror, really?
Yeah, that was it. You can overheat the rear tyres here and you can end up with a very oversteery car. So those first 3 laps was me just concentrating on not getting the rear end slipping. And Martin was in my. It was me balancing Martin in my draft and trying to look after those tyres in the first few laps to make sure I had a good balanced car at the end there, which I did. I managed to get my fastest lap in with a couple of laps to go, so I'm happy with that.
Absolutely, no reason why not to be, I suppose. It's a very good drive from you today. Thanks very much for joining us for an interview, and congratulations on your victory tonight.
Thank you.
There are Simon Edwards, the race winner here from Okayama. We'll bring in second place man Martin Booker now as well, because he was chasing him down most of the way, but wasn't able to get to Edwards in the end. Joins us now, Martin Booker. Welcome along. Good to have you here. It was a runaway victory for Simon Edwards. I've said that a few times, but but you know, what could you do at that point? I'm presuming you were driving your heart out all the same, but it was just a little bit too quick today, maybe.
No, I was taking it easy. I didn't want to steal Simon's thunder. I had a good half a second. No, I was hanging on to him for dear life for the first, I don't know, 6 or 7 laps. And as soon as he as soon as he escaped from the draft, he started dropping me. So bit of a sort of dull race, really. All in all, sort of a big gap in front of me and a big gap behind me.
Yeah, absolutely. You were in a world of your own a little bit, but maybe next week it'll be a little bit more exciting. How do you feel about Interlagos for you in terms of a race result? Will you be able to bet a P2? Will you be lower than what you are now? What are you expecting?
I didn't realise it was Interlagos. It's always been a bit of a bogey track for me. That one's my nemesis. I'm not very good, so I'm not expecting another P2 next week, put it that way. I like the place, he just doesn't like me.
Well, you never know. You never know. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you there. But for now, thanks very much for coming to join us for an interview. And yeah, we'll see you next week. But congratulations on P2 first and foremost.
Thank you very much.
Here we are, Martin Booker of second place after this Okayama race. We do have a couple more people down there, but none of them are Paul LeMay at the moment in third position. We do like to speak to the podium getters, but he's not coming to join us for the moment. So we'll hold off for a couple more moments. But yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to for the moment. But for now, Steve, your summary of this Okayama race, it was promised to be a good one. I think it's, as you mentioned at the start, a track that everybody gets to grips with quite easily. I did get that feeling, but obviously the front of the field very, very spread out indeed throughout that race, because the pace was just immense through all of those guys, really.
Yeah, you called it after qualifying, with the top 5 more or less being, in a almost, dare I say, in a league of their own. And obviously Crab had his incident which put him out of that group. But so the top 4 more or less pulled away, and we saw some battling towards the end. But yeah, I mean, what can you say about Simon Edwards? That was a fantastic drive, and Martin Booker really talking it down a little bit. I mean, he was in a safe second place as well, so he had a very good race as well. But these cars don't disappoint. These drivers certainly don't disappoint. They know how to pedal these cars around the track, and Okayama is a fantastic track. As I said, it's got a bit of everything. It's got a couple of nice long flat out straights, and it's also got some very tight corners, and these guys showed us how to attack Okayama this evening and put on a show for us. And I, for one, am looking forward to Interlagos next week, and I do not doubt for 1 second that the action is going to be hot and fast around Interlagos next week.
Yeah, it is indeed. Make sure you join us same time, same place, because we'll be broadcasting the race live, of course, and indeed qualifying as well. So we look forward to seeing you then. We're jumping around a bit at the moment in the schedule of this Radical Race series. Because we were at Donington Park last week. We jumped over to Japan, Brazil. We're going to Canada the week after that. So we're all over the place over the next few weeks. But yeah, we look forward to those for now. I think we're going to wrap things up for the moment, though, for this round of the UK and Ireland Radical Race series. Thanks very much to everybody who's come to join us here at Okayama. I hope you've enjoyed the show once more. And until 1 week's time at Interlagos, it's goodbye for now.